Welcome back to Cody in the Cinema, and today I'm going to be discussing 3 movies you should watch if you want to get into the Criterion Collection. And I made this video specifically for people who weren't necessarily wanting to dive right into a movie that wasn't in English. You wanted something that was a little bit funnier, more engaging, just easy to slide into before you tried to tackle anything mentally taxing. And the first one I wanted to recommend to you was The Breakfast Club, which you may have already seen. This is in the collection if you didn't know that. So this movie is about a group of teenagers who have detention, Saturday school, and they come together and they have wildly different personalities, and they're forced to coexist in this remarkable comedy. And the best performance here, obviously, in my opinion, would be Judd Nelson, who has the famous gloves, with the little fingers. And watching these characters interact and banter back and forth and seeing how insecure they really are as teenagers, that is universal. That is, it's held up incredibly well. And it's, again, very funny and easy to watch. The Breakfast Club is a good place to start if you haven't explored the collection. Also there, Molly Ringwald, pretty entertaining. Now, what if you want a movie about a road trip, something where a lot of cool stuff happens, exciting, maybe there's some gunfire, some violence, some crass behavior, or maybe you just really want to see a good cameo from Brad Pitt? Well, I would highly recommend you check out Thelma and Louise, especially if you have a 4K player, the 4K version. So in this one, 2 women end up on a road trip, and one of them is trying to get away from her husband in some capacity, and a couple of things go wrong, and they're on the run from the law, and it becomes this sort of Western of sorts, and it makes good use of Dead Horse Point State Park, I believe, that part of the West. It's a gorgeous looking movie, and it's also really funny. These two together probably have some of the best banter in the collection. There's a small role from Harvey Keitel, but like I said, Susan Sarandon, Gina Davis. I highly recommend this if you want something entertaining that's easy to get into, that's also visually appealing. Because if you're getting into the collection, eventually it's very likely that you're going to start looking for movies that have that pretty visual splendor, and I think this is a good place to start looking into that. So I do believe you'll be entertained by this, and it has a really good ending. Great road trip movie. And I wanted to recommend one black and white movie to you, because I feel like that's a good place to start transitioning from just watching movies in color. If you're doing that, I used to just only watch movies if they were like modern and in color. And then I got a hold of this thing, Raging Bull. Okay. This is Martin Scorsese's often considered one of his best movies besides Goodfellas. And this is a story, Raging Bull is a story about Jake LaMotta, a boxer who has a pretty bad temper. He's very jealous of his wife in many instances, and he has a troublesome relationship with his brother, played by Joe Pesci. And if you want to have the best dialogue between Joe Pesci and Rob De Niro that's just going to crack you up, this is the case. Now, again, it's kind of a tragedy as it goes along, but this has fighting, violence, like I said, banter, funny interactions. This is a great movie to get you into other movies in the collection. And it's very easy to watch, at least at first. And I think what's going to happen is if you watch this, the cinematography and so forth, it's going to draw you in such a way that if you aren't very familiar with a lot of these kinds of movies in the collection, you're going to be instantly more interested than you were before, especially as you see the skill of Martin Scorsese as a director. So I would recommend The Breakfast Club, Thelma and Louise, and Raging Bull as good starting points if you want to get into movies in the collection, but you don't really know where to start. For some of you who are new to the collection, what are some things you've been enjoying? For those of you that have been into it for a long time like I have, what do you think are good starting points for people that just kind of want to explore and expand their horizons? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on Cody in the Cinema. Don't forget to like and subscribe.